guys, I posted my first ever guided meditation. It's free for you to enjoy. I removed, even for those who don't have YouTube Premium, I even made sure to remove the ads from it because I know how annoying it can be to have advertisements in the middle of meditation. I think it's a little bit inappropriate. So, for those who don't have YouTube Premium, you will be very happy. There will be one ad block in the beginning, and that's it. You can enjoy a smooth experience with my guided meditation that is far more than meditation. And today I would like to discuss why it is so, why I named it even not just meditation but an exercise. And this will turn our this video in a whole complete workshop in which you will understand some fundamentals of the methods that I teach. You know that I'm very passionate about having a healthy biochemistry, very high level performance as an intellectual, as a creative. Those things are of very high value for me. And I created the coaching program that's called Human Renaissance that helps people of very challenging professions to excel in life, to actually enjoy the process that demands super high level of discipline and nervous system performance. I also worked a lot researching nutrition, and that facet is also abundantly covered on my channel. So please take advantage of the playlists if you are new on my channel and you haven't seen my body of work that I put in such topic as veganism that actually sheds light on nutrition as a whole through this precedent of veganism. I have a very well-rounded program, and working with the mind, I found out, would be a very important part of fixing the biochemistry of a human. Why fixing in general? I mean, everybody faces the imperfections of our reality. Everybody on the way to achieving their life goals, to achieving what your talents are guiding you towards. Everybody faces obstacles. Some of those obstacles, especially if they occur in the early childhood and during the time of development of brain, they can leave what people commonly call trauma, which trauma I would like to reward it as adaptation to something that served you in the moment, but now you recognize it as a trauma because it doesn't serve you anymore. Like, for example, a child would adapt to their mom beating them by developing certain reactions, certain behaviors to protect their psyche, to protect their mind from those instances. But when they grow up, this thing no longer works. And so, but they still behave based on the inertia of those experiences. This is just an example. It's just adaptation that doesn't work anymore. We develop those adaptations and they hinder our performance in the areas where we would want to excel, where we would want to have spare energy to actually do something. I want to paint. I cannot paint when all I'm thinking about is how my lover was behaving screwed up or what he was doing 10 years ago. Something like that. Or something like, for example, I had conversation with my parent and now all my mind is occupied. I feel shrunk like a little tiny fist and I just feel like a little puppy in the rain, sitting in the cold November rain somewhere in the corner of a street in twilight. And I cannot function properly. Yes, I have very demanding intellectual tasks. At work, for example, I'm doing academic work, but I can't. This situation paralyzed my nervous system. My thoughts constantly drift there, and I cannot return back to my senses. This is a huge, this is just two examples, but you can think of an enormous number of scenarios in which this happens in the daily life of a lot of people. And again, the more demanding, the more separated from the animal level life you strive for, the more those things become relevant, the more those things become detrimental for your aspirations. You no longer can, you feel like you cannot afford to get entertained by those things. So what to do? How to reteach your nervous system to actually do what you want done? How to teach your body, how to teach your brain to actually obey to your course of action? Yes, of course, there's reality, there is objective, let's say reality that we cannot influence that much, but we can and we should, frankly, do everything in our power to create and control things that we can control and to build resilience, capacity to endure, capacity to conduct without any hindrance, to conduct without any agitation certain things from the external world. such that they don't damage us anymore. And that is where human renaissance comes in handy. Human renaissance is about a lot of things. Today we're discussing only one facet, this facet. And I would like to showcase to you how this meditation that I posted, how it works in the context of this introduction. In this meditation, I present you actually not just a tool, not just like some audio to spend half an hour, 20 minutes listening to relax, for example. Yes, there is absolutely space, there's place for meditations that are there just to relax. But this meditation is a little bit more than that. My goal is to not to design the training program that is, you know, how you go to the gym, for example, without any particular goal, and today you do 10 push ups in order to be able to do 11 push-ups tomorrow and then 12 the next day. I don't want it to be like that. I don't want it to be meditation for the sake of meditation. I wanted to create a practice that teaches you practical skills. And let's go step by step through the key points, through the key chapters of this meditation. So the meditation starts with, of course, with just getting grounded in your body. In the first step of the meditation there, you're going to pacify your nervous system, to get into the parasympathetic mode of operation by deeply breathing into your belly. So, the first step is literally to just break or soothe some stress feedback loops and get grounded in your body. Body is always the good place. It's always a good start for us. This is always a good shelter for us, and you will see it being used in certain nice ways throughout this meditation. So the meditation starts with that. You first reconnect with your body and pacify your nervous system. Then other steps in this meditation, they go kind of with an overlap. So it goes like a ladder. You do something one, then some part of this practice gets developed, some part gets shed. And then you go up and up and up through those things. So, what is the next step? After we have pacified our nervous system, we turn our attention into visualization component. And for people who do not have a very developed visualization skill, it's a very good entry point. We induce just something almost abstract, the simplest vision of a space, something that our brain naturally knows how to do. This allows you to activate your visualization mechanisms. So, in this next step, when you are calm and soothed, you enter the visual plane. Then, when you have tuned in, activated your visual space, you start introducing the object, some focal point. And this is the next step that evolves from the previous. You introduce an object that is easy for you to induce in your mind, and it becomes your visual focal point. This focal point will serve as some external stimulus for our mind, some external, very well perceived stimulus, a focal point, something that we seed in our mind and can easily reproduce. And then this meditation goes on a course of we focus on the object in our mind, and then we bring our focus, coupled with breathing, we bring it onto our entire body. And we cycle through it. We cycle our focus from big and in the body onto the object, small, focused out there. And we cycle through that. So this is our that step of meditation. What does it accomplish? How is that a practical skill? This object that we envision in our mind can be anything. Whenever we get struck by some event, conversation, some responsible task, something that requires a lot of nervous tension, the remnants of that exist then only in our mind. The task is accomplished, but the tail of that remains in our mind. I should have said that. Why did this person say that? Why did I do that? It could have been a mistake. I cannot wait to see the result. I hope that this is gonna happen. I hope this is not gonna happen. This is all in our mind. It does not exist in the objective reality. And a lot of people, actually, from working with people, I notice that people get stuck. They cannot get it out of their mind. And it creates a perpetual stress. You cannot change those people from thinking about something that left such a strong imprint. Imagine how, they used to put this stamp that they would heat with fire and then burn it onto the skin of some animals or something. That's literally the same thing. It just burns in our brain as an imagery because it activated so many emotions and physical responses in our body. So those stressful events, they sit imprinted. You cannot take your mind and just get distracted to, for example, solving quadratic equations. You cannot do that because quadratic equations, they're much weaker for, as an abstraction, they're much weaker than something that left you with so many physical manifestations with so much imagery. And this is why this exercise, when you have some point of focus and then diffusion into your entire body, it shows to your brain, first of all, how to move your focus, and secondly, it shows you the intermediate destination for your mind. For example, something happened in your life. You know now to go back to your body. You know to transfer your attention, all of your attention, into your body pleasurefully. Induce physical feedback loop through breathing, through activating very deep relaxation. And then from that point, your brain can get distracted. If you just try to go from one strong abstraction to another weak abstraction, it will never work. But when you show your brain the path through your body, you will be able to easily snap out of that. You show to your brain how it's done and how it can be done easily. So in this step, when you're focusing on the object, then defocusing on your body, focusing on the object, defocusing on your body, and you growing this focus, you are learning the switch. And as you practice this meditation or this block in meditation alone, even, you are going to learn to switch faster and faster and faster and more easily. And then you will notice how you can apply it in real life. For example, you had a quarrel with someone. Normal thing happens with everyone. You had a quarrel, but you have a super important task to accomplish. You are all fired up, but you need to accomplish your duties. You just cannot abandon something that a lot of people rely on, for example, for your business, for your work, for a job. You're going to be able to do this detour to be able to snap to something that you need and want to, on the globe, on the grand scheme of things, want to get accomplished. So this is the second part of this meditation. Is it second or third or four? Yeah, I don't remember. So I don't count. Yeah, but basically this is what we do. We cycle through them. Another thing is when we do breathing and full focus on the body, it does relax your mind. And if you had some oppressive events, you will find how through this practice and through especially the next step of this practice, you can return to feeling yourself fully. And I will give you the example. But before that, we're going to discuss the next step. On the next step, instead of just focusing on the object, on your body, you're doing a more dynamic thing. This is the next level in that meditation. You are focusing on this object and it gets smaller. When you inhale, you're focusing on your body, imagining how your body grows. When your body grows, you feel how your breathing fills your, I don't know, overall perception of yourself. Because when, for example, there are events that make you feel shrunk, somebody gave you harsh criticism for something that you've done, or you spoke with the person in whose opinion you hold a lot of value, and they also kind of diminished your appreciation of yourself, of your life, nothing changed in the objective reality. Your perception of yourself is that now you are shrunk and small. And this thing helps you to return back to your entire body and become more grand. You will notice how when you do this growth step, you are going to change the breathing pattern. I notice that with people when they repeat this meditation. You're going to change the breathing pattern, and that breathing pattern, coupled with the perception of your growth, will bring you very interesting new sensations of yourself, and you will feel how you, again, nothing has changed. You have full ownership. If you wish, you have full ownership of everything that is yours. Nothing has changed. You become bigger than any opinions, than any noise in the outer universe. Plus, also, you're constantly getting more and more relaxed, which means that your clarity of perception is improving. Because when we are in stress, we tend to bury ourselves deeper and deeper in catastrophic perception of everything. Like it can be, I don't know, like the bus outside is too noisy, catastrophic. When we're peaceful, we don't care about it. It's just the background and we can do whatever we want. You're going to be perceiving reality with less and less catastrophic perception because you're going to be more relaxed and you're going to return to your senses. This little thing works miraculously. I highly recommend you to do this practice. When you are focusing on that shrinking object, you're further deepening your focus. You are going to be fortifying your skill of deep and very strong precision focusing. So, this is also getting trained in that block of the meditation. And then on the next step of the meditation, you will notice how your brain, how your psyche gets gradually conditioned for experiencing more and more and more and more pleasure. And also, this focusing exercise creates, focusing on the object, creates a very strong contrast for that sensation of broadening your focus, sinking into your body, expanding your body. So, in that last step, we remove that object that we're focusing on and we are pursuing further and further growth. Here's where the imagery of light comes into play, such that we have some imagery, some pleasant imagery that we can hold our mind onto without actually putting too much focus, without like creating a whole focal narrow point. So, in this step, we are interacting with this light, we are continuing to grow and fill our body. Also, afterwards, notice your breathing pattern because you will feel very interesting effects. In the end, there is climax point. And let's talk a little bit more about it. In the last step of this meditation, you're going to be instructed to experience expansion to the size of infinity, to the size of the universe. What is that? What is that about? I would describe this moment as the moment of giving up. This is when your brain actually enters the deep rest mode. It's not an overload of brain, it's liberation of brain. If you see the difference, it is not forced upon you. You are learning how to enter that state on demand and in pleasureful situations. So, that thing, I would like you to, if you try this meditation, I would really love you to experiment with that. There is a huge pause for you to tune this in, to dial it in for your own liking, to feel the feeling that it produces. Absolutely focus on specifically expansion to the size of the universe. The key word here is an incomprehensible. When you rationally cannot perceive it, but something in you can create the state of that. Please be very attentive there because this is the gateway to so many gifts. In particular, you will learn to enter on demand, or your brain will learn to enter that state when solving problems. You can enter that step, and in that step, your brain will be performing sorting of the information. Your brain will be calculating the best solution there is. So this is the access to your to the best powers of your computer, your best computing powers. And when we think about tantra applied to sexual activities, this is where you are going to access the full body pleasure. This is where you're going to access your orgasmic potential and all of those other perks that come with your ability to fully relax your mind and fully surrender control through pleasure. So I hope this is clear. And then this is the climax of this meditation. And meditation, no, just wraps up and ends. What is the skill set that you're going to extract from that meditation? Working with the focus, showing to your brain that there is a way to escape a very strong stimulus to some other part. You show your brain the detour. You show your brain how to exit the dead end of some intrusive thought and how to quickly switch on demand. How to not get stuck thinking about something all the time. You're showing it the detour. This will be one skill. Then the other skill is how to escape the situations, how to escape the and how to heal from situations in which you feel oppressed by circumstances, by some conversations, by some people, by some environment. You are going to learn how you can return back to your normal senses when you feel ownership of yourself, of your life. And you can act instead of feeling like some huge rock is sitting on top of you. And you cannot move, you cannot do anything. Feeling like helplessness, hopelessness, whatever. So this will be the second practical skill that you will learn from this meditation. And then the third skill is the deep brain rest modes that you can enter on demand and that you can use creative work, that you can use in problem solving, that you can use to just expand your pleasure potential, and that you can use later in sexual activities when you master this skill. So these are the things. How to work with this meditation, how often to do it. You can do it several times a week in the beginning, and then when you start learning the skills, when you actually show to your brain how it's done, you can just take 30 seconds, 5 seconds to just practice momentarily. Practice certain state that you experienced in that meditation. Because when you're going through meditation, you're fully focused on that. And this is when you create very firm, very bright imagery of how it is, very bright sensory experiences. So you just go, you learned it, you did the meditation a couple of times, some situation happens or some pause in your life happens. You just return to this moment that you think is very useful, that you feel drawn to, that you think will be useful for you to apply in that moment, and you just perform it. Very short snippet. You just did it. You refortified that impression, that method. As you learn those skills and you find how you started applying them in real life, you can start performing this meditation every once a month, for example, just to refresh it, because certain impressions they get dulled. For example, you will also pick up one trick from this meditation but not the other, and those things they will fade in your mind gradually. To just refresh them, you can start doing them. In general, if we think about this meditation as a whole, of course, it has the most basic benefit of meditation is to feel centered, grounded, calm, de-stressed, rejuvenated, more energized. It's a quite versatile property of meditations, and of course, you can take advantage of that and start listening to it several times a week. And then another thing is, I would not recommend performing this meditation every single day, such that your brain can process, learn the skill. And another important thing in the end, there's an instruction that you sit in rest after performing this meditation. At least couple of minutes, spend at least couple of minutes in the end without any distractions and disturbances. This is a very important advice as well. I hope this was helpful, and I will see you in the next video. Please write your questions below, and also you can check out my website and schedule a session with me. See you and bye.